CSI Softball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island. CSI Sportsnet welcomes you in to NCAA Division II softball coverage live on the ECC network. In today's non-conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Lions of Lincoln University. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner, Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, it's been a long time coming. You and I on our first home softball broadcast of the season. It has been a full month since the last time I covered this Dolphin softball team, even longer for you. It's nice to have softball back on the campus of the College of Staten Island.
And they've got a good weather today here, Joe. We obviously have seen the weather be a bit of a factor as to why we haven't been here earlier this week. And two good games today between the Lions and the Dolphins. We'll see if the Dolphins can pick up some momentum, Joe. As we know, a lot of games coming up for CSI this week. After today, they have a doubleheader tomorrow at Stack. Then they have another doubleheader back here on Saturday as well as Sunday. And then they go to Deauville on Tuesday. So think about it this way, folks. The Dolphins have 10 games coming up and about 5 days of play. So they really need, if they want to make the playoffs this season, these next couple of games are going to be very crucial down the stretch of the season.
And before we talk about the history between these two teams, let's talk a bit about what those games coming up will mean for the Dolphins. Obviously, they have a matchup with the Lions today. But looking ahead a bit, they have the games coming up against the East Coast Conference as well, and those games will determine whether or not the Dolphins make the playoffs.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what the Dolphins bring to the table here today, Joe. As we mentioned, the Dolphins have not played in a bit over a week. The last time that they played was March 29th. That was that doubleheader back at Queens, where the Dolphins split that doubleheader against the Knights. They won Game 1, 8-0. They lost Game 2, 13-7. But as we've seen so far the last couple of weeks, they were supposed to play the same Lincoln team back on the 2nd. That game got postponed. We saw that they were supposed to play Monday and Tuesday here at the softball complex. Those games got postponed as well to the weekend, and now they're back here today. But a little bit over a week since this team has last played. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor into this game, that the Dolphins having this long rest, and we'll see if that will play a factor into this doubleheader.
Both of these teams have not played since the month of March. It has been a long time for these two softball teams, and they take the field against one another here today. And Nick, they have met once before. Those games were played exactly 1 year ago today.
Yeah, and we saw in that doubleheader, Joe, the Dolphins unfortunately losing the second game of the doubleheader. They won Game 1 9-0 in a great pitching effort, but Game 2 was a heartbreaker for CSI in that one. They trailed 4-1 after the first inning of that game, fought their way back, and eventually tied the game in the top of the 7th inning. They lost on a walk-off in the bottom of the 7th, 5-4 the final in that one. So CSI looking for some retribution in this one today, looking to take the overall series history between the Lions if they can get the doubleheader in this one. But as I mentioned, the biggest thing for the Dolphins here today, Joe, is get these wins and bring that momentum going into tomorrow against Stack.
We talk about that quite a bit, these non-conference games being momentum builders and an opportunity for some players who may not get as many reps during conference play to get out there and showcase what they can do. Obviously, these games will not impact the conference standings for the Dolphins. However, your first action in quite some time, your home opener here at the CSI Softball Complex anyway, and definitely no games to be overlooked against the Lions here this afternoon, a team that played them very closely last year, especially in that second game, which Lincoln defeated CSI, as you mentioned, 5-4. But let's take a look at the Dolphins starting pitcher in this game, Alexis Miramontes, who we didn't see all too much last year. We've seen her a lot more this year, and she's rewarded the trust of head coach Tracy Garofalo with her performance this season.
And we'll see exactly what will happen for Miramontes in this game today, Joe. The last time she was out to pitch for CSI was against Malloy. Couldn't really get some outs in that game against the Lions, but she has been very productive so far for the Dolphins this season. She comes in today with a 2-1 record, an ERA of 5.42, and 20 2/3 of inning pitch. Has allowed 30 hits, 24 runs, only 16 of those earned. Has as well as opponents are batting .323 against her this season. So it's been a mixture of things for her this year. She has given up some runs, but a lot of them haven't been earned as well, and that proved a factor in the last game against the Lions. If you look in that last game, Joe, 9 runs she allowed, only 1 run was earned. So the Dolphins will like to make sure that they don't get into the error column here today and give their starting pitcher a chance.
And Nick, that's something that you and I have spoken about so many times, both during baseball broadcasts and during softball broadcasts. But miscues in the field have proven costly for both teams. And if you look at what the softball team has done this year, there was that one game, I believe it was against Mercy in Game 2, where errors absolutely destroyed the Dolphins late in that game. And any loss in conference play is a tough loss, but against the team that you were competing with for a playoff spot last year, it stings just a bit more and really narrows that margin for error heading toward the final games of the season. And it's hard to believe, but we are approaching the final 3 weeks of the year now. We'll be at that point this weekend, and the Dolphins need to be playing their best softball come the conclusion of this season. Today's a chance to get sort of a tune-up game, a non-conference game, a game you'd still love to win, that we expect to be a pair of close games, but the games that are really, really important get started tomorrow with that matchup against Stack.
Yeah, and I think for CSI, you look at the record this year in the ECC, Joe, they have to pick up these wins in the next couple of days, as the microphone is just a bit loud, but we'll see if that plays a factor as well for us here today. But going into the season, you look at the Dolphins' record in ECC play, 1-5 so far. They're at the bottom of the conference. But the good thing for them today is that these games obviously will not matter in terms of conference standings, but you want to at least go into tomorrow's games against Stack, who right now is atop of the ECC at 6-2. You want to at least make sure that you go into those two games tomorrow with at least a little bit of more confidence and a little bit of more morale boost. As if you lose one or even both of these games here today, that could really play a big factor tomorrow. It could really maybe potentially hurt the Dolphins the rest of the way of the season.
And we've said it as well, Nick. A lot of games in a very short time, you have to be careful with how much you exert your players in games like this. Obviously, how you utilize your pitching is decided in large part by the games coming up. So that's something to keep in mind as well. If you're the Dolphins here today, keep in mind, it's not just the Dolphins who haven't played since March. Lincoln has been out of action since March 30th. The Dolphins have been out of action since March 29th. That doubleheader for the Dolphins on the 29th was against CUNY rival Queens College. The Dolphins split that doubleheader against the Lions. All right, I thought we had a malfunction of a public address system, but what we will do, instead of trying to talk over our public address announcer, Joe Calabrese, you and I will step aside and take a quick break. When we come back here on CSI Sportsnet, the Dolphins take on the Lions.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
And we are back from the CSI softball complex with first pitch as Alexis Miramontes deals a strike. Veronica Tart leading things off for the Lions will get you the full Lincoln lineup. And Nick, I'll have to apologize in advance if I call the Lions Malloy. It's instinct.
It's all good.
Count 1-1 now on Tart. Comes the 1-1. That's taken low, 2-1.
Veronica Tart in the year, Joe, having a nice season for the Lions, hitting .370 on the year with 5 RBIs.
She's ahead here, 2 balls and 1 strike. That's it for a called strike.
I almost forgot I had to input the balls and strikes today.
It's one of those days.
Had the pleasure of having scoreboard the last couple of broadcasts for baseball, but we're back to doing it manually. Don't mind it at all, but we're back to do it manually here for softball.
You probably mind it just a little.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't me as much. Heads up.
That's hitting the air toward the Dolphin dugout. And they have an early souvenir.
We're, of course, behind home plate, so we need to be, just a little bit heads up for us. Make sure we don't have any softballs coming towards us.
Count now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Tart. Aaliyah Rose on deck. That's popped up just beyond the infield and down for a base hit. That will bring Aaliyah Rose to the plate with a runner on. Nobody out here in the road first.
Well, if you saw what Tar did right there, Joe, she got a little bit off the end of the bat on that pitch on the inside, but she hit it into shallow center and found a good spot to get that leadoff single. It's Dolphins corner infielders now looking for a bunt.
That's taken outside by Rose, 1-0.
There's a second look at that previous base hit from Tart. An early base runner here for the Lions.
That's taken for a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
Leah Rose on the air, 276 batting average, 7 RBIs on the season.
The 1-1. Outside, 2-1. And Rose with a half-hearted cut at that pitch. Count now even 2-2.
Yeah, it looked like Rose might have been deciding if she wanted to swing or not at that pitch, and it was on the outside corner. And Miramontes got her to chase on that one, and now the count evens at 2.
2-2. Outside for ball 3. And if you're Miramontes, you have to attack here. Can't afford to put a batter who may have been willing to slap the ball weakly and move the runner over. Can't put that kind of batter on with a walk. And that's high for ball 4. The runner was going on the pitch, and the Lions have the first 2 on here in the first.
And a good start to this game for Lincoln, Joe. A leadoff single to start this one. There's a walk drawn by Rose, and now it's first and second, nobody out. And Erlyn Richardson now comes to the plate.
Pitch to Richardson, up and away, 1-0.
If you look at the RBIs on the season for the Lions, Joe, Richardson's second on the team with 18 RBIs this season.
She bats here in an RBI spot, 2 on, nobody out. And now she has a great hitter's count ahead, 2-0.
And definitely an early concern for the Dolphins as Kanath will go to the circle and talk to her pitcher. But I think the concern right now is that Miramontes has missed with a couple of pitches, especially the last 3 on the outside, and has been trying to get the hitters to chase, but has been to no avail. Now the Dolphins are hoping that they can get some command here from Miramontes in this plate appearance. They can maybe force either a ground ball to get an out, or at least get back into this count and try to get a strikeout.
I think the concern right now, Nick, is that several of these pitches have missed badly. Comes the 2-0. In for a strike.
I believe Richardson was waiting for a pitch to swing at. I got that first pitch strike there. Now 2-1. Let's see if she swings away.
And she does. That's a foul ball. Count now even at 2.
Would have been a swinging bunt right there if it stayed fair. The Dolphins would have only had one play, and that would have been to first base.
Lions have yet to hit the ball hard. A weak pop-up just beyond the infield went for a hit. A walk put 2 on, and that dribbler just stayed foul. And the 2-2 is hit sharply, 1 hop to short. Balderas steps on second and throws out Richardson at first.
Well, Joe, you don't see it very often, a double play turn here at the softball complex, but that's a great play by Balderas. Not only did she not flip it to second, it would have been a little bit tougher to turn the double play that way. She steps on the bag, makes a quick, strong throw to first base, and they get a very good hitter in Richardson out. And now there's 2 gone for the Lions here in this inning.
Very nicely done by Eileen Balderas. Knew how much time she had. The ball was hit sharply, and that worked to her advantage. Now, Nick, I don't have a number 1 on my roster.
I don't either.
Okay, so I'm being told that number 6 is wearing 1 today.
Okay.
That is
That's
Linnea Jex.
Yep. I'm here with Linnea.
The 1-1 to Jex. In for a called strike 2.
Jackson here hitting .310. That's 15 RBIs, tied for third best.
1-2. And she got her swinging. So Miramontes put the first two on, but strands a runner at third as the double play and a strikeout get her through the first unscathed. Dolphins come to bat for the first time here at the CSI Softball Complex. No score.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back here for the home first here at the CSI Softball Complex. No score between the Lions and the Dolphins. That's Dolphins coming back for the first time here this season at the Softball Complex.
First baseman, number 34, Anissa Acosta.
Anissa Acosta will lead it off for the Dolphins here in the home first. Talk about Acosta's numbers on the season in just a moment. The Dolphin first baseman will take that one high for a ball, or excuse me, a strike. Count goes 0-1. On the mound today for the Lions is number 18, Chloe Foster. Foster on the year with a 3.77 ERA. Now this is on the outside for a ball. Count evens at 1. This will be her 15th appearance of the season, her 11th start. 3-6 record. Does have a save on the season. 5 complete games. 68 2/3 of an inning. It's allowed 83 hits. Finish that stat line in a second as that one's dribbled down the first base line. And Foster will flip it over to first base in time for the first out of the inning. So Costa retired there. The rest of Foster's numbers stats. It's allowed 50 runs, 37 of those runs are earned, 44 walks, 43 strikeouts, and opponents are hitting .291 against her on the season.
All right, thank you, Nick. Had to attend to our public address system for a moment. So at some point, we lost our walk-ups in transmission there. Team said they sent them. I never received them. They're out there in the ether somewhere. But we're trying to get that sorted out and get them into the system for the next inning. Meanwhile, Mariah Carcano at the plate takes ball 2, and she's quickly ahead 2-0.
Have a nice senior season here, Joe. .343 batting average. His slugging percentage of .373. Started all games for the Dolphins this season.
Last time that I saw Mariah was down in Florida, of course, and during that time she was dealing with an injury that came after diving for a ball in the outfield. Got in every game after that, but was limited. Dolphins will need her down the stretch run. Obviously, her glove in center, a huge asset to this team, and her bat, as you mentioned, has been prolific this year as well, as she comes up empty on that bunt, and the count runs full, 3-2.
So nice job by Foster. Down 3-0 on the count. Has now worked it full, I should say, at 3-2. Pivotal pitch here.
And the 3-2 is low for ball 4. So Foster issues the walk to Carcano, and Nick, that's not the base runner you want to put on with the free pass.
Yeah, now you bring up Balderas here, Joe, and that's someone you don't want to have with a runner on. Balderas having a nice season once again. .307 batting average with 2 home runs and 16 RBIs. Her RBIs are third best on the team. And if something goes into the gap, has a chance for another one right here.
Balderas takes a strike, 0-1. Balderas now batting third as Carcano runs, throw just a bit low, and Mariah steals the base.
And now a perfect RBI opportunity spot. I mentioned before, if Balderas was able to get it into the gap, that would have brought home Carcano. Now, just a single can bring home that runner from second and give CSI an early 1-0 lead in this game.
That's exactly why you don't want to issue the walk in that spot. Count now 2-1 on Balderas.
That stolen base for Carcano now, Joe. Ties her for the team lead in stolen bases on the season.
2-1. Hit in the air, fouling out of play. Count now even at 2. As I was saying before the stolen base, Nick, Balderas now batting third in the order. We've seen her hit leadoff quite a bit.
As I say, we've seen a bit of a different lineup that we're more accustomed to.
And that is scorched foul.
Costa leading off this game. We usually see her batting in the 3 or 4 spot in this lineup. Carcano sometimes will bat lead off. Balderas we've seen sometimes lead off. So a bit of a changing of the lineup. And we mentioned it with about over a week's span since the Dolphins last played. The Dolphins probably thought about themselves and said, what can we do differently down the stretch of the season to make sure that we can get into the playoffs? A lineup change could certainly do that.
Dolphins now in their 3rd season of playoff eligibility. 2-2 coming. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Foster sets down Balderas swinging, and that will leave it to Amanda Stalker.
That's a big punch out for Foster right now to get it. Balderas' bat with the runner in scoring position down via the strikeout. As you mentioned now, up to Amanda Stalker here, who's also having another nice season. 348 batting average with 9 RBIs on the year.
And Stalker takes ball 1. One out. In for a strike, 1-1.
I think the one thing that we also have missed, Joe, since it's been a while since you and I have called games together, we get to hear the dugout chants now, because I didn't get to hear them back in Seton Hall.
That's hit well to left field, and that is off the fence. Carcano in to score. Stalker headed for second, and she is in standing with an RBI double. As the throw did get away, it was backed up. But Stalker's RBI extra base hit gives the Dolphins a 1-0 lead.
Just by mere inches, Joe, she missed a home run into left field. That was crushed off the bat, and the dugout certainly has got something to chant for now after that RBI double. Gives her now 10 on the season and gives the Dolphins an early 1-0 lead.
Pitch to Wanzer, hit to short. And that's a great play on a tough hop over at short by Richardson. Her throw to first in time, and Wanzer is retired to end the inning. But not before the Dolphins get on the board for the first time. And Amanda Stalker, RBI double, puts CSI ahead 1-0 through 1.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Second inning from the CSI softball complex begins with ball 1. Jordan Cathy at the plate for Lincoln. now trail the Dolphins 1-0.
Kathy having a sensational season for the Lions here, Joe. I'll bring up her stats in just a moment.
Comes the 1-0. In for a strike, 1-1.
Hitting .395 on the season. Tied for the team lead in home runs with 3. It's tied for third on the team in RBIs with 15. Slugging percentage of .568.
Big numbers for Kathy as she takes down and in 2-1. Miramontes ran into some trouble in that first inning, and it all began with falling behind hitters early. And now she's behind here, 3-1.
And we saw how she got out of that inning as well, Joe. You know, after first and second, nobody out, got a double play ball to get 2 outs, and then followed that up with a strikeout. But is in danger of walking the leadoff batter here.
3-1. Up and in, ball 4.
Another stat as well for Jordan, for Jordan Cathy this year, Joe. 8 for 10 this season in stolen base attempts. So someone to watch.
Definitely something to watch here as Miramontes walks her second. That pitch in for a called strike 1.
And with the amount of games the Dolphins have coming up as well, Joe, the Dolphins need to be very, have to make sure that their pitchers are well rested for these next games coming up.
Mari Frederick, the batter, and that's a point we made during the pregame as that's hit high in the air to left. And Smith makes the catch, 1 away.
Yeah, it looked like she was just under that one, Frederick, out into left field, and Smith makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
To the plate now will be Chloe Foster.
Foster looking to help to her own cause, now trailing this game 1-0.
She takes a strike.
I think Lincoln wants some Chloe, Joe.
I'm curious how clearly the dugout chants come through over our microphones. We're not as close as we've been in the past.
I'm curious to see it myself. Might have to listen back later on.
Count 1-1 now on Foster. And she holds the swing and takes a strike. Count 1-2. And again, Foster holds the swing, but she is called out on strikes.
They checked the last pitch before that one to see if it was on the swing or the pitch. It was on the pitch, that strike 2. That one might have been on the check swing itself. And Miramontes now has 2 gone in the inning.
That will bring up Ashlyn Sherman. Sherman shows bunt, lays it down. That will advance the runner, and the throw to first sails into right field. Advancing 2 bases is Kathy, and the throwing error allows Sherman to reach.
And that's a tough play behind the plate for Knauf, Joe. Trying to get that one to first, and the angle that she had to throw it to was not an easy one with the first, with the runner going down the first base line. Throw it into right field and gives now Lincoln still some life here in this top of the second now. First and third, 2 gone. And Oakland Johnson now will get a chance.
And the runner
Just
coming
like that.
home is tagged out. And the inning is over.
How about that?
They try the double steal, Nick, and it does not pan out. The Dolphins execute well and cut down the runner at the plate. That will do it for the road second. The Dolphins maintain a 1-0 lead.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I am a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
Paige Bell at the plate for the Dolphins to open up the home second inning.
Took a first pitch strike down the count 0-1.
That's hit in the air softly, shallow right center, and that is down for a hit.
How about that, Joe? A little bloop single into right center, and Bell's on to lead off this second inning.
Well, we saw that open up the game for Lincoln. A bloop single into shallow center. This time, it's the Dolphins benefiting from some soft contact, and Soleil Smith will be the batter. Pitch to Smith, hit softly on the ground, foul.
Very unusual way to end that last half inning as well, Joe. A 2-6-3-2 putout at the plate. As you mentioned, the double steal attempt was unsuccessful for the Lions in that last half inning.
Well, I had to slide over to the stats desk. I looked up, and there was a play at the plate as that gets away, and Bell will move up to second.
Just like that, now that wild pitch gives Smith here an RBI opportunity with a base hit.
So once again, the Dolphins have a runner in scoring position, this time with nobody out. Carcano stole second in the first when there was one out in the inning and was chased home on a 2-out RBI double by Amanda Stalker.
Smith now has an early hitter's count at 2-1. As Foster has gotten into some early trouble here in the second.
Smith ahead 2-1. And that's it on the ground, foul. 2-2. They'll track that one down in the tarp, deep in the left field corner, and get that softball back in. Two and two the count on the Dolphins' left fielder. Foster's pitch. Hit hard to right. And it's over the glove of the diving right fielder, Jex. It rolls to the fence. Bell scores easily, and Soleil Smith is into second base standing with an RBI double.
And it looked like on that one, the right fielder maybe misplayed it, Joe. I think overran it initially in, and that's what led to the ball going over the glove and into right field, off that right field fence. But Smith gets a nice rip into right, brings home the runner Bell from second, and gives the Dolphins now a 2-0 lead.
And that's a tough play in right with how hard that ball was hit. You have to make that correct read off the bat or you're not going to have a chance. Smith scorched that ball. And now Bridget Motley will be the batter. She's ahead 1-0.
If you're the Dolphins, Joe, you got to like how this game has started for you. A run in the first, now a run in the second. Still nobody out in this inning looking for some more runs.
Motley takes a called strike one. Dolphins already with 3 hits early in this game. 2 of those have been absolute rockets. Comes the 1-1. Line foul.
Speaking of rockets, Howell was rocketed down the right field line down the first base bag.
And we saw a similar foul ball hit hard off the bat by Eileen Balderas earlier as well. Dolphins have made some solid contact against Foster to this point.
And if you look at the Dolphins' numbers this season, Joe, they've been doing it all year. They've had some really good contact numbers. If you look at the batting averages, it's been a really good year hitting for the CSI.
And that's grounded through the left side for another hit. Smith heads to third. She slides in safely. The throw gets away, and Motley moves up to second.
And that's heads-up base running by the Dolphins. Not only does Smith realize and the ball goes into left field, and she gets to move up to third. But Molly, noticing that the ball goes past the third baseman, goes towards home plate, and she's easily gets into second base, advancing on the throw. And now Kanoth will have a opportunity with a base hit right here to bring home 2 runs.
Time has been called on the infield here.
Conference at the circle.
Lions will talk this one over. Nicely done, Nick. Not to say conference at the mound.
Second time we've done it today. I've been trying to check myself.
There's been a lot of baseball during the last
Yes.
month since our last softball broadcast. And the next couple of weeks will be dominated by softball. We have quite a few games coming up over the weekend, weather permitting.
Yep.
And all the way through the end of April. We are very busy.
To think 10 days from now for this softball team, it's going to be senior day here at the softball complex. And then just after that for baseball, we have Heroes Day as well at SIUH Community Park. It'll be a busy couple of weeks here for us on CSI Sportsnet.
A lot coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Make sure to get your tickets for that game.
Those are free, but you do have to claim them online.
Yes.
Natalia Kanoth, the batter. And she hits one right back to the circle, smothered by Foster, and she throws out Kanoth for out number 1.
Well, Joe, how many times have we said pitcher's best friend is that first pitch out? That was a great play by Foster in the circle. Quick throw, checked the runner at third, and got that first out of the inning. A much-needed first out.
And now Anissa Acosta will be the batter. Acosta coming up in a big RBI spot right here. 2 in scoring position, 1 out. And she takes a strike.
Acosta first bad, Joe. I never got to mention her numbers in the season, but she's a big testament to what I was talking about before in terms of batting average. She's hitting .442 coming into today's contest with 17 RBIs.
Pitch on its way, and that's low. Now, I think I mentioned it down in Florida, but with the best season of her career, which right now she's on track for, I believe she has a chance to finish with 200 career hits. You'll have to check that for me on her bio page when you get a minute. Maybe between innings if you don't have time now. You'll have to go to the full bio to get that. She's ahead here, 2-1. And that's ball 3.
Now a perfect hitters count here, 3-1. .178.
She definitely has a chance. And that's hit well deep to left.
Just under it.
But she got just under it. It's caught on the warning track. Smith headed home, and she will score. It's a sacrifice fly for Anissa Acosta, and the Dolphins lead it 3-0.
A productive out right there for Acosta, adding to her RBI total on the season. But that sacrifice fly to left, and as we mentioned, just under it, missing it by a home run. And now it's going to bring up Carcano with 2 gone.
She did not miss that by much, and even getting under it, she still made a home run bid with that swing.
The center fielder, number 3, Mariah Carcano.
And we've seen her hit home runs before, obviously. Still has not had one this season, which might be the only surprising stat about her all year.
That's a good point, Nick, as that's hit to short, and they have no chance to get Carcano hit too slowly. Motley moves up to third, and it's an infield single for Carcano.
We mentioned it her last time where she stole second base. The speed of Carcano is just really good for this Dolphins team, and you saw it right there, blazing down the first base line and getting an infield hit. The 5th hit already for the Dolphins in this game, and another RBI opportunity for Balderas.
Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Will they send Carcano here, as that's fouled away?
The Dolphins certainly don't want to make the mistake that Lincoln had that previous half inning, getting caught in a double rundown.
Yeah, we saw the Lions run themselves out of that last inning trying to tie the game on the base paths. Balderas behind 0-1. She takes low. Carcano dancing off of first. Count 1-1 now. And that's dribbled to third, and it's booted. It rolls into shallow left field. Carcano heads to third and will stop there. That's going to be an E5 on that one. allowing Balderas to reach. Another run scores, and it's now 4-0 Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a backbreaker right there for the Lions, Joe. Had a chance to get out of the inning right there on that ground ball, the third. But as you mentioned, it was booted into left field, allowing another run to score for the Dolphins in the inning. And now they have a 4-0 lead here in the second.
Amanda Stalker now up with a chance to produce some more runs as Balderas will take second without a throw. Wise of the Lions not to take a chance throwing there with Carcano running at third. Dolphins now have 2 in scoring position for Stalker. And the 1-0 misses up and away, 2-0.
Yeah, a dangerous spot for Foster. Already down 4 in this game. You do have first base open if you were to walk Stalker, but you really don't want to give the Dolphins an opportunity to have the bases loaded.
2-0. Down low, ball 3.
Is now in danger of loading the bases with Wanser on deck.
Well, after Stalker nearly homered in her last at bat, they've pitched her very carefully here. 3-0. And at the knees for a strike.
But now we'll see if they give her the green light on this pitch here, Joe. 3-1. You still have the hitter's count. Has to be something good if Stalker's going to hit it.
3-1 on its way. Outside, ball 4.
And she did a good job. Foster tried to go in that outside corner with that fastball, and Stalker was able to hold up. And now the Dolphins have the bases loaded, and certainly a home run capable hitter right here at Wanser.
Well, a homer here brings home that all-important 8th run, which could get the Dolphins out of this game in as little as 5 innings potentially. And that pitch is in for a called strike 1.
We mentioned how long it's been since you and I called the game. For me, myself, the last time I called the game was when Wanser hit that home run back against Chestnut Hill at Seton Hall.
The 0-1, ripped foul.
Well, she was certainly making a home run bid there, but needed to straighten it out just a bit.
That ball was absolutely scorched.
Good thing no one was driving down that pathway. You have to watch out.
It's 0-2. And Wanser takes outside.
You see it again. Foster trying to go to the outside corner with that fastball. But the Dolphins have done a good job so far in this game, Joe, of keeping their play discipline and not swinging at that pitch on the outside. So now the count goes to 1-2.
1-2 outside, 2-2.
Now the count evening here, and Foster cannot afford a ball 3 right here. No bases open for the line pitcher.
Count 2-2, and that misses way upstairs. 3-2 now with nowhere to put Wanser.
Tried those first 2 on the outside to get that strike 3, didn't get it. That one missed badly high for ball 3, and now is in danger of walking in the 5th run of this game.
Foster consults the wristband ahead of a big payoff pitch. The 3-2. Low, ball 4, and that will force home a run.
How about that at bat right there by Wanser, Joe? Down 0-2. Was able to take those next 2 pitches on the outside corner, then got the last 2, and was able to work a walk and bring home the 5th RBI for the Dolphins in this game, and they now bat around here in the 2nd inning.
Really good at bat by Wanser, and as you said, Nick, CSI has batted around with Paige Bell coming to the plate for the 2nd time.
And she started this inning off with a base hit, that blue single into right center field.
Pitch in for a strike. Foster at times has gotten ahead of hitters, has had a lot of trouble putting Dolphins away. Comes the 0-1. Outside, 1-1.
Yeah, I think if you're Foster trying to find some confidence back in yourself at this point, keep in mind, Joe, had a chance to get out of this inning earlier on, but that error at third base prolonged the inning.
That error really looming large right now as that's taken up and away, 2-1. Obviously, the error brings home a run, but it also costs you all of these extra pitches.
I'm not sure what the exact pitch count is for Foster, but it's got to be a high one right now.
Bell takes a strike, 2-2.
Looks like she's at 51 right now here in the second. Now it's a 2-2 count, as we mentioned. One strike away from getting out of the inning.
2-2, up and away. And once again, the count is full.
In danger of walking in another run right here. If you're the Lions, you cannot afford that. They're hoping that their pitcher right here can get the strikeout and this inning.
Foster looking for that put-away pitch. And instead, she misses inside. Ball 4.
Didn't look like a bad pitch from back here on the backstop for where we're positioned at, but just missed on the inside. And Bell, who started this inning off with that bloop single, now gets a walk and brings home the Dolphins' 6th run of the game, a 5-run second inning. And we'll see if Soleil Smith can do something now with 2 gone.
And Smith swings and misses for strike 1. And once again, Foster gets ahead with a first pitch strike. She's done that here in this inning.
Smith was behind on that fastball, but remember, Joe, she started the inning off with she started the runs in this inning off with a RBI double out into right field.
I'm a bit surprised they've pitched her away twice in a row as that misses for ball 1 when Smith went to the opposite field on that hit. That scored a run earlier. Count 1-1 now. And that's hit softly toward first. And the underhand flip is in time as Smith is retired to end the second inning. But not before the Dolphins score 5 more runs. Their lead grows to 6. We are through 2. Our score, Staten Island 6, Lincoln nothing.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Oakland Johnson will lead off here in the top of the third inning. A now 6-0 lead for the Dolphins in this game after a 5-run second inning for CSI. It's Alexis Miramontes' first pitch here in the third. It's called for a strike. The count goes to 0-1. Johnson hits that one towards the circle. Miramontes throws it onto Acosta in time, and there's now 1 away in the inning. Johnson came up last time in that second inning, but her bat did not count after that run down at the plate. She's retired here for the first out. It brings up Veronica Tart, who started this game off with the bloop single out into center field. Was stranded on third base. She takes the first pitch strike. The count goes to 0-1. Dolphins with 6 runs on 5 hits and the 1 error. For Lincoln, they have no runs on 1 hit and 1 error as well. The count now evens at 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
1-1, the count now here to Tart. Now it misses on the inside for ball 2.
So Miramontes once again Falling behind a hitter, though she does have a quick out here in the third, and that's something we haven't seen early in this game. There's a swing and a miss, 2-2.
Good fastball right there from Miramontes. Blew that one right past Tart. Now has the count even at 2.
2-2, popped up, foul, and out of play. Count remains 2-2. For the Lions, just one hit during the first pass through the order. As Tart lines one off the glove of Bell and into left field.
How about this start of the game for Tart, Joe? Now has both hits in this one for the Lions. She's on for the second time here today. And as you mentioned, that one just going off the glove of Bell at third base.
Number 7, Aaliyah Rose.
That will bring up Aaliyah Rose.
Rose worked the walk here last time.
Perhaps a bit of a commentator's jinx. Oh, and won the count here on Rose.
You could perhaps make that case.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Tart's now 2 for 2. She has both hits. The 0-1. Dribbled back to the circle, off Miramontes' glove, and she lost the play.
Question of this show was that's going to be scored as. Right now a hit.
It's a hit. Those dribblers are tough.
Number 5, Erlyn Richardson.
Especially off the backhand for Miramontes, trying to play that one off in the circle. And good base running down that first base line. Now it's first and second, one out.
Erlyn Richardson takes low, ball 1.
It's kind of eerie similar to what happened in that first inning, Joe. Except for the difference of this inning being with one out. Richardson came up with first and second. That time with no outs and grounded into a double play. Dolphins would love another double play ball right here.
That's bunted foul. And you have to think that's a bunt for a hit here. Count even at 1.
You would have to think so. You don't want to give an out right here, especially with only one gone in the inning. Don't want to give the second out. Give the Dolphins a chance to get out of this inning on the next bat.
That's it hard on the ground through the left side for a base hit. Each runner will move up one base, and the Lions now have him loaded with one out here in the third.
So some early trouble here for Miramontes now in the third inning, Joe. After that 5-run bomb in the second for the Dolphins, the Lions now have a chance to cut into this deficit. Bases loaded and still just one out.
The right fielder, number 1, Linnea Jex.
That will bring up Linnea Jex.
Here, Linnea, Joe. I'll relay it over to public address in the next half inning.
Pronunciation guide says Linnea, Joe.
I'm just hearing from the dugout. That's
Okay.
what I'm basing it off of. But that pronunciation guide definitely is misleading.
Well, it is Linnea on the
Yeah,
pronunciation
that's what I'm saying.
guide.
It's misleading.
It is.
Yeah.
It is not misleading.
Yeah.
It is.
I try to give everyone the benefit of
Jex
the doubt.
behind 0-2 here.
Imagine her stats on the season and her first time up. Be a big strikeout for Miramontes if she can get it.
And she takes outside. That's high.
Had to duck out of the way on that one.
Count 2-2 now. And you'd hate to run it full if you're Miramontes. There is some room for error here with a 6-run lead. And she does miss high, 3-2.
It's a big pitch right here for Miramontes. Had her in a 2-strike count earlier, and now has worked the count full. Danger of walking in the Lions' first run.
And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Big punch out for Miramontes as Jex goes down swinging.
Yeah, that's a huge one right there for Miramontes. Got that one right past Jex for the second out of the inning, blowing that fastball. Now, Now it's down to the last out for 2 outs. Jordan Cathy will not have a chance. Bases loaded, but now after again that second out, Miramontes an out away from escaping the danger.
There's a called strike. Well, you mentioned it during her first at bat, but Jordan Cathy, a very dangerous hitter, comes to the plate here with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And the way this game has gone, it seems as if the Lions need her to come through, as that's fouled off.
Just got a piece of that one, but Miramontes now, Joe, a strike away once again and working out of some trouble here in this game. We'll see if she tries to get Cathy to chase something on the outside and try to get that strikeout to end the inning.
Well, this time Miramontes working from ahead 0-2. Pitch on its way. Just getting a piece was Cathy there.
That's exactly where Miramontes went. She went right on the outside, trying to get her to chase. Cathy did chase, but was just able to get a piece of it to keep this at bat going. Still down 0-2.
Still 0-2. And that's hit to third. Bell has it, and she will step on third for the force play to retire the side. The Lions leave the bases loaded in the third. They still trail CSI 6-0.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Now, Joe, did you flinch there?
I did.
Well,
It's because I wasn't looking. It was the sound of the ball hitting the fence.
of course. Okay. That's
But
fair.
I did.
That's
So
fair.
I'll have to exile myself now for the rest of the day. This is all yours, Nick.
All right. I've lost the CFO now here for the rest of this game.
It's your call now, Nick. As Bridget Motley takes a ball. 2-0.
Counts to 2-0.
So for those who may be tuning in from the Lincoln crowd, we have a rule here at the commentary desk. You are not allowed to flinch on foul balls. And while I was speaking to Nick, a ball hit the fence and it got me.
And you know what the weird part about that, Joe, is that wasn't even a foul ball. That was a ball.
Oh, that's interesting.
It just bounced towards us behind the plate as Motley grounded out for the first out of the inning.
The catcher, number 24, Natalia Canoth.
So Motley retired for out number 1, and Natalia Canoth will be the batter. And Canoth takes a strike.
Canoth so far 0 for 1. After Hurts back to the top of the line for the Dolphins.
Canoth takes out of the zone 1-1.
I mentioned that last half inning, Joe. If you're the Dolphins, you gotta love what you've done so far in this game. Already 6 runs, 5 hits. You'll be able to work some counts on Foster here.
That's it pretty well to left center. But Canoth got under it, and that's caught. 2 gone.
Foster now 1 out away from her first clean inning of this game. But as we mentioned, it's back to the top of the line for the Dolphins. And If there's anyone to get a 2-hour rally started for you, it's definitely this batter right here, Anissa Acosta.
So Anissa Acosta comes to the plate here. Bases empty, 2 outs. Foster hoping for a quick inning. She's 2/3 of the way there. First pitch foul ball makes it 0-1 on Acosta. She's 0 for 1 at the plate. Does have a sacrifice fly, and that's it right back to the circle. Quick inning for Foster as the Dolphins go down 1-2-3. Lions come to bat in the 4th when we come back.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
And we're back for the 4th inning.
Couple changes for the Dolphins here in this inning.
Alexandra Frenza, the new Dolphins pitcher. Deanna Du Bois in left field. And the batter is Amari Frederick. That one fouled off to the backstop. It's quickly 1-2.
Give your props as well in this game, Joe. Tamira Montes did pitch 3 innings, but got into a lot of trouble early in this game. It was able to work out of it and did not give up a single run in this one.
Well, I think the Dolphins' approach is to not overexert any of their arms entering conference play. They let Miramontes go 3. She's out. Frenza in. That's hit in the air. Foul. And I mentioned it earlier. If you get the chance to get out of this game in 5 innings, if you can score 2 more and keep Lincoln right where they are, that's huge for you entering a doubleheader with St. Thomas Aquinas tomorrow and potentially much more coming up over the weekend.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting, which is why I said potentially as that's popped up. And once again, a souvenir for the Dolphins dugout. Pat's got it. He took it from Joe.
There was a fight. There was a fight for that one. As we like to call him Patty Two Camps at the fight our public address announcer Joe Calabrese.
Patty Two Hands there. Locked in that catch as that's lined towards center, and it falls for a base hit. So Frederick's on with a leadoff single. And the Lions, once again, have the leadoff batter on.
Nice piece of hitting for Frederick on that one, Joe. Fouled off a couple pitches, had the count even at 2. Gets that single into center. And now has a leadoff base runner. They're now tied for hits in this game. 5 apiece for both the Dolphins and the Lions in this one.
Foster trying to bunt, sends it right back into the fence behind the plate. And we saw that before, with a couple of runners on, and I believe there was one out, an attempt to bunt. Now an attempt to bunt with nobody out.
Corner infielders remain in for the Dolphins. Expecting Foster to do it again.
That's fouled off.
Ball runners have been very active in this game here in the fourth.
Count 0-2 now on Foster. She takes outside. The 1-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3.
And Joe, you could hear it from back here on the backstop. That fastball was way past Foster. She swung late on that one. And a big punch out for Frenza to get the first out.
That rising fastball got her to chase, and that was the key there. Not much you could do with that pitch. At the plate now, Ashlyn Sherman. Sherman without an official at bat in this game. She fouls that one off.
Another run for the ball boy, if you want to call it that.
Sherman reached on an error attempting a sacrifice her last time up.
Gonna have to ask Miguel what's you know.
I'm gonna have to ask him how he feels about being called the ball boy.
What would you like to call it? Ball runner, I guess?
The ball chaser?
Ball chaser?
I don't know. But
regardless, I was going to ask him.
I don't think does anyone really want to be called the ball boy?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, you get called the ball boy when you're towards the dugout. That time,
I get called the ball man.
Joe, I'm going to put my hand up. That time, it did hit the metal, and the sound of the metal made me blink an eye for a second. I blinked an eye for a second.
Oddly enough, that one didn't get me.
of all the ones.
Here comes the 1-2. Low, 2-2.
Good thing Miguel's a soccer player. He's got all the conditioning to do this here today.
Not a job that many sign up for, as that's hit sharply toward the middle, and that is through for a base hit. Lions now with 2 on and 1 out, following that base hit by Sherman.
Well, we saw Miramontes in the last inning, Joe, and early on in this game as well, get into some trouble with base runners on, and this one now for Frenza. Back-to-back singles, now make it first and second, still 1 out. And now Oakland Johnson will have a chance here, as the Lions now have 6 hits in this game.
Johnson 0 for 1, takes ball 1. The 1-0, popped up. Don't flinch in that dugout now.
At least Miguel doesn't have to track that one down.
The weather today has turned out a lot better than the forecast had indicated.
Yes.
We were expecting potential temperatures in the 20s.
It was very cold yesterday.
1-1, up high, 2-1.
You know it's cold when even the major league teams in baseball have to move up their games from night games to earlier afternoon games.
Really?
Yeah. Yankees and the Mets had to do that the last couple of days.
Didn't even realize that was a thing. 2-1, up and away.
Well, of course, we had Yankee Stadium on Monday.
I had to think about that. I'm like, why are they going to Sacramento? And then I remembered that the Oakland A's play there now.
Well, the Athletics.
Ah, they're not the A's anymore?
They have no affiliation with any city now. They're just
True.
They're just called the Athletics.
That is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
3-2 hit in the air, foul.
It's almost similar to the Washington football team in a sense.
But Washington's in the
At least
team
they had
name.
exactly.
I don't know what's worse, having no city affiliation or
No,
no
no
team
team.
name. I think it's definitely
I think
a
it's
team name.
Yeah.
Football team is worse. That's laughable. I would love to know how they came up with that.
Big punch out. Meanwhile, Joe for Frenza gets a huge second out. And is 1 out away from, once again, for the Dolphins, working out of a jam.
And that will bring up Veronica Tart. Tart was 2 for 2 against Miramontes. And she takes a strike.
And if you notice in these last couple of pitches for Frenza, she's worked a lot more inside towards these Lion hitters and has been getting the benefit of the calls with those strikes. Now up early in this count, 0-1.
0-1. Swing and a miss. How about that drop pitch, Nick?
Good luck for Tart on this at bat, Joe. Now you get the fastball in the inside corner, and then you get an off-speed pitch in the dirt. Nice pitch right there from Frenza. And now let's see what she goes here on 0-2.
She was fooled badly on that one. And Frenza goes upstairs for strike 3. Swing and a miss by Tart. She's retired for the first time in this game. And the Dolphins lead it 6-0 as they come to bat in the 4th.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
For Lincoln. I don't know. Home 4th inning from the CSI softball complex begins with an attempt at a bunt for a hit, but Mariah Carcano is thrown out.
Nice start to this inning for the Lions show. 1 pitch, 1 out. She mentioned Carcano trying to get that bunt single. Just missed it.
The shortstop, number 27, Eileen Balderas.
That will bring up Eileen Balderas. Balderas 0 for 2 at the plate.
We shot an error her last time.
Balderas takes out of the zone 1-0. The 1-0. Hit on the ground and into left field for a base hit. Balderas with her first hit of the game, and the Dolphins have a 1-out base runner.
That's another scorched hit ball towards third base, Joe. We've seen that a lot in this game. This time Balderas is the one that gets it for the Dolphins. They now have 6 hits in this game. And we'll see if Amanda Stalker with something into the gap could bring home Balderas from first.
That will bring up Amanda Stalker. Stalker officially 1 for 1, has drawn a walk as well, and that's hit toward the left side, cut off in the hole, and the throw was dropped at second.
And we saw how costly of an error that was in the second inning, Joe, where that error at third prolonged the inning for the Lions. Now an error there at second, their second of the game. And now they're hoping that that won't hurt them as well. But now a chance for Olivia Wanser to do some damage here with still 1 gone in the inning.
Wanser 0 for 1 at the plate. Did record an RBI as she drew a bases loaded walk. And she's ahead 1-0. And Nick, chance here if the Dolphins can score twice to get out of this one in the next half inning.
And they would love to have that happen, considering, as we mentioned, the amount of games they have coming up.
That's chopped toward the middle and through for a base hit. Balderas coming home. She will score. Stalker trying for third, and she's safe.
How about that heads-up base runner from the Dolphins?
The play at the plate was much closer than I expected, and good base running, as you mentioned, by Stalker to move up to third. Dolphins now with runners on the corners And just one out for Paige Bell.
And they get that first run that we mentioned. Now 7-0 lead for CSI. Paige Bell comes up to the plate, had a nice second inning for the Dolphins, got a single, and also walked in a run.
That's taken outside, 1-0 to Bell. Inside 2-0.
And you mentioned it, Joe. It's been a long time since Lincoln has also played. March 30th, as you mentioned, was the last time that they played. So that could be some of the rust playing into this one today. But still another game to go after this one.
That's fouled back, 2-1. Bell at the plate in this game, 1-for-1 with a walk and an RBI. And I think when you haven't played in a long time, would you typically say advantage hitter or pitcher?
I say hitter.
Hitter?
Showed in this game so far for the Dolphins.
You could also look at it as it's been advantage pitcher on the Dolphins side.
That's true.
Though the Lions do have 6 hits, the Dolphins have 7.
The Lions just left a couple base runners in scoring position. This game would be a lot different. Now the Dolphins, I thought initially had a work to walk, but the count was 2-2 there. Now it's 3-2 for Bell.
Full count to Bell. Three-two. Fouled off.
And Foster walks Bell here. That will load the bases. So really can't afford a walk. We'll have to see if the walk does happen. Would Lincoln go to a new pitcher in this spot?
And the 3-2 is outside for ball 4. Another walk for Foster. That's her 5th. And the bases are loaded.
And that's another one, Joe, that was that fastball on the outside corner. I mentioned earlier, that's where she's been trying to go for that punch-out pitch. And she just has not been able to get the call in this game. And now, bases loaded, still 1 out in the inning.
Deanna Du Bois, the batter here. And trying to get out of the way, she went around on that swing.
Count now 0-1 for Du Bois. She came in as a defensive substitution earlier on in the fourth inning, excuse me.
The 0-1. Swung on and missed, 0-2.
I think if you're Du Bois, I think you want to try to get something at least into play. Give that runner at third a chance to score.
Du Bois replacing Soleil Smith out in left field during the previous half inning, and she goes down on strikes.
Nice job by Foster to bounce back after giving up that walk. Another punch out for her on the day via that fastball. They'll be up to Motley.
That will bring up Bridget Motley. And Motley takes ball 1. Bridget 1 for 2 at the plate in this game.
I think the only thing that's perplexing, Joe, is they keep trying to go to that fastball in the outside corner. They have not gotten the call all day, and the Dolphins have not nudged or swung at any of those pitches on the outside.
Dolphins have put together a lot of good at-bats in this game. And now Motley's ahead 2-0, and if you're Lincoln, obviously you can't afford a walk in this spot, trailing by 7.
Yeah, it would be the 6th walk of the game for Foster if that were the case, and it would bring home that 8th run.
That's fouled off, and the count runs to 2-1. Half swing by Motley. She went around. 2-2.
So down 2-0 now. Foster's got a 2-2 count. And it's 1 strike away from at least minimizing the damage here with just the 1 run given up.
2-2. Tripled foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the bases are loaded. here in the home fourth inning. The Dolphins lead at 7-0. 2-2. Low for ball 3.
Nowhere to put the batter at Motley. Bases loaded, now a full count. And we've already seen Foster walk a couple in this game. Trying to avoid that once again here.
Payoff pitch on its way. Fouled off. Half swing there by Motley, just getting a piece.
Very lengthy at bat here. Forced by the Dolphins second baseman.
Haven't said that often. Motley just beginning to get reps at second base late last month as she draws a walk. And the Dolphins now lead at 8-0.
And that's been the most frustrating part of this game, unfortunately, for the Lions in this one, Joe, for Foster. Her 6th walk issued, but it feels like most of those walks have come via with 2 strikes. It's just not been able to get some strikeouts. And that's another one where she walks in a run and now gives the Dolphins an 8-0 lead.
Well, that's been it, Nick. She hasn't been able to put these Dolphin hitters away as Natalia Knoth takes a strike. The 0-1 popped up. Called over at short, and the catch is made by Richardson to retire the side. Dolphins strand the bases loaded, but they do score a pair of runs in the inning. That gives them an 8-run lead and a chance to end this one via the run rule after 4.5. Lions coming to bat, looking to prevent that from happening when we come back.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Aaliyah Rose would lead off here at the top of the 5th. An 8-0 lead now for the Dolphins. They've got a chance now to end this game early via the run rule. Salicens and French will try to do the work.
There's a dribbler to the left side, and the Dolphins will not have a play. Infield hit, start the inning. And very quickly, Aaliyah Rose is on to get things started for Lincoln.
Not a bad way to start the inning if you're Lincoln. First pitch swinging, and Rose gets that dribble down the third base line. No easy play for Bell. And that brings up Richardson.
So Richardson comes to the plate here, showing bunt, runner going, and that throw is not even close. It ends up in center field, and the Lions now have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Richardson has shown bunt her last couple of times at the plate. Showed bunt in that first one and missed badly for ball 1. Let's see. She shows it again.
The 1-0. Up high. It's 2-0 now. And Richardson takes a strike on the inside corner.
Oh, we've seen the Dolphins in this game, Joe, have been able to work themselves out of jams in the first 4 innings of this one. An early jam here in the 5th. And now French has a 2-2 count.
2-2 now on Richardson. And if the Dolphins could get this out via strikeout, that would be big. Looking to keep that runner at second base. 2-2, and Richardson just got a piece.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of an off-speed pitch for friends on that one. You mentioned that Richardson just got a piece. Keeps it as a bat going, still 2-2.
It's 2-2. High and outside, ball 3. Richardson already 1 for 2 in this game, looking to get on for the second time. Here comes the 3-2. That's ripped foul.
Heads up down that left field line. Still full count here, 3-2.
3-2. Hit hard to center. Carcano initially broke in, and it goes over her head. 1 run will come in to score, and Richardson is into second base standing with an RBI double. As Lincoln gets on the board for the first time this afternoon, it's now 8-1.
Well, they keep this game going, Joe, with that RBI double. Tough play out in center field, and now gives Richardson an RBI double, and now makes it an 8-1 game.
Anaya checks the batter, pops up the bunt. They get 1, but good base running by Richardson not to get too far off the bag at second.
Second look at that previous base hit. Coming via the bat of Richardson. Big RBI double. Gets Lincoln onto the board. Makes us now an 8-1 game. And now Jordan Cathy comes up with 1 away.
And Cathy pops one up. Shallow left center. Carcano comes in and makes the catch. 2 away.
How about that, Joe? After giving up that double. Back-to-back 1-pitch outs for Frenza. And now 2 gone.
2 away now. And Amari Frederick will be the batter. First pitch. In for a strike.
Another inside fastball from Frenza right there.
Yo, 1. Hit to left. Du Bois has it. And that will retire the side. But the Lions prolong this game for at least another half inning. They score for the first time. The Dolphin lead has been cut to 7. Our score, Staten Island 8, Lincoln 1.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Anissa Acosta will lead off for the Dolphins here in the home 5th inning. Dolphins need 1 run to walk this off, and Acosta has a leadoff hit.
Don't often see a walk-off run rule, but Dolphins have a chance in this inning. Acosta will lead it off with the single. Dolphins' 8th hit of this game.
The center fielder, number 3, Mariah Carcano.
And if you're the Lions, obviously you have to play to that fact, knowing the Dolphins only need 1 to end this. Mariah Carcano showing bunt there, comes up empty, but she pulled it back in time, 1-0.
I was going to say, you got to expect the bunt here in this spot for Carcano.
The 1-0. Bunted again. It's a good one. Tough play. And she's safe.
Looks like she beat it just by a step, Joe. And the Dolphins now have 9 hits in this one. First and second, still nobody out. The dangerous at bat of Eileen Balderas now coming up.
So Balderas comes to the plate with the winning run at second. Carcano at first. Nobody out. Foster still in there for Lincoln. Her first pitch to Balderas is hit sharply to third. Knocked down. And a good play there to recover by Kathy and tag out Acosta.
Acosta pretty much in no man's land right there, Joe. Had no chance. Even if there wasn't a tag towards her, they would have gone to the bag. Huge first out for the Lions right there.
Amanda Stalker, the batter now, as time is called to allow the right fielder to tie her cleat. That's Jex out there. She's all set.
They're ready to resume. Saw her today 1 for 2 with an RBI.
Long look in here. Foster, who's checking the wristband. Pitch. Down and away, ball 1. Hit out toward right center, hit pretty well.
Trouble.
And the catch was made on the run. Carcano's going to head home, and she is going to score from second. And that will do it. The Dolphins have walked it off on a 2-base tag up by Mariah Carcano, and Nick off the bat. I knew she was going to try it.
You can't really blame the Dolphins for trying to do it, but how about the play in center field as well? You have to give your tip of the cap out in center field by Aaliyah Rose, but you mentioned it, Carcano just kept running and running and running, and the ball got bobbled towards the cutoff man, and that leads to her scoring and leads to the Dolphins getting a much-needed run-rule victory in Game 1, 9-1 the final. They now get the rest. They're pitching a little bit now for some time going into Game 2 as well for the rest of this weekend.
That may be the most unorthodox of sacrifice flies you will see. Now, we've had this happen once before. Do we know if that can be scored, a sacrifice fly?
I think it has to be. What else would you score it as?
An out and a 2-base advance and a run. You don't have to call it a sac fly.
I think it's a sacrifice fly.
We'll look into that. But either way, the Dolphins win it 9-1. Via the run rule, they walk it off in the home 5th inning. Game 2 between the Dolphins and Lions coming up at approximately 4 p.m. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside Nicholas Bavona. Both of us will rejoin you for the second game of today's non-conference doubleheader in approximately 30 minutes.